gospel, I'm going to say in a minute, is good news, bad news, good news. We're going to explore that. I mean, there's the gospel. The gospel is good news, bad news, good news. Can you just say that with me? The gospel is good news, bad news, good news. But the bottom line is, therefore, being justified by faith, you have shalom with God. You're at peace. When you understand the gospel, it brings you into this full-orbed fullness. Now, we're still human. At the end of the day, we still have a sense of vulnerability. We still have a sense we don't understand fully, and we never really arrive. But it's the journey with Jesus that leads to shalom, being justified by faith, to have peace with God. So I want us to remember this really simple outline. It will give you some hooks to hang the incredible hugeness of the gospel truths and to arrange them so that you can communicate it to others. And there's a group in America that teaches the way to present the gospel is bad news, good news. And so they'll say, well, let's start with the 10 Commandments. Have you ever told a lie? You're a liar. Have you ever lusted? You're a luster. Have you ever stolen? You're a robber. Okay, I'm going to tell you the good news. You're a lusting, lying robber. It's like, ouch. Jesus didn't do that when he met the woman at the well, did he? He said, you know what? Out of your innermost being will flow rivers of living water. He started with good news. And in just a minute, we're going to go into Genesis. And Genesis starts with good news. We read about the bad news in chapter 3, but we start with the good news. And so, remember, when you present Jesus, let's say you listen to their story, you tell your story, and they say, tell me more about Jesus' story. Start with good news. It's not wrong to, like Jesus say, well, out of your innermost being is going to flow rivers of life. You're going to be alive. Let me tell you a story that will lead you into life. And then you've already shared your story. And I'm alive in the Lord. Have I arrived? No. But am I alive? Yes. I was blind, now I can see. So, I want us to think this through. And I'd like us to go into Genesis, and we're going to be done in like 15 minutes. So we're going to move fairly quickly right now. But would you turn back to Genesis, actually 1:1. In the beginning, God created. If you don't believe that, and I was a philosophy student, I've been trained in philosophy, you need a presupposition on which to build a systematically consistent worldview. If you reject the first 5 words of the Bible, there's nothing on which to build. All you have is speculation. And the scientists say, oh, you know what, maybe chance and time resulted in something. No, there's no morality, there's no truth, there's no purpose, there's no eternal life. In the beginning, God created, and then in verse 3, and God said. So if you can't embrace those 2 sentences, you probably, will never know who you are. Culture will define you. Culture will say, oh, any gender is okay. Sex outside of marriage is okay. Same-sex marriage is okay. We can perform abortions even on babies that have been born. It's okay. That's culture. Don't ever let culture define you. Beware of culture. Now, it's not wrong to take a shower in the morning, okay? But I'm saying don't let the world push an identity on you that is basically unsubstantiated. In the beginning, God created and God spoke. That's the beginning.